Hi, welcome to the Slam and Cup. um, we're everything's fine. It's okay. Oh, the match hasn't started yet. Okay, good. You. Uh, in that case, yeah. Welcome everybody to the inaugural edition of TakoYaku, a Slam and Cup mahjong tournament. Um, how are you all doing today? I don't know whether anyone is here yet, actually, but if you are, welcome and make yourself comfortable because there's going to be at least 5 minutes before the matches begin in earnest. So until that point, enjoy. Oh well, there. How are you doing, Pax? How are you? How are you feeling? How are you holding up? Please imagine. The, the you yes. Ah.
Why, hello there.
Welcome, Ash. So, have you actually set up on reactive.fugi.tech, or are those just like
Not for this stream, no.
okay? Um, have you done it? Have you done that before though?
Have I personally done it before?
Yeah.
For other purposes, yes.
Okay, so then there should be a link that you generated at some point. Actually, hi, sorry. Give me 1 minute.
Okay. I can give you that link. I'm just actively in a mahjong match right now.
Uh, hmm. Welcome back, everybody, to the Slam and Cup. Okay, we're good. Everything's fine. Fires have been put out.
No.
There
No
you
problems
go.
ever on Slam and Cup.
We're an extremely well organized Splatoon and Mahjong tournament, as we are as Team RAV is quickly and unfortunately discovering.
We're proving the rule.
Exactly.
By playing in a lot of Mahjong, by playing in a lot of Splatoon tournaments, which are one, not Mahjong tournament, and two, dubiously organized, we're proving that the Slam and Cup is an incredibly well organized Mahjong Splatoon hybrid.
Exactly. This is what everyone is saying.
Many people are saying this.
Many people are saying this. Well, folks, we're 2 minutes out from the start of the match. So, Ash, you have your spreadsheet up right now, right? The one
I
where...
always have my spreadsheet up.
Can you tell us about our competitors today, who are, by the way, Ivy, Strings3, and Thecollest?
Well, I can tell you about only Strings.
That seems reasonable. Can you at least tell us who has the most Uma right now?
I will tell you who has the most Uma right. Oh my god, I forgot that Fish, changed the font on this spreadsheet.
Oh my god.
So the standings for this table, 3 is actually in the lead with a positive 34.8. Ivy close behind in 8th place. 3 is in 7th place. Ivy is in 8th place with 24 positive Uma. And then Thecollest is pretty far back in 18th place with negative 28.3, and Strings is in 21st place with negative 51.6.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Well, if Strings is the only person here you know about, then what do you know about Strings?
Well, what I know about Strings is that having recently spent a lot of time watching the 2 Hanchans that they participated in, the other members at their table last week were extremely reluctant to open their hand. Most of that entire set was played with purely closed hands. Almost every Yaku was Riichi. But Strings opened their hand, nevertheless, almost half the time. An outlier at that table. But didn't seem to be doing so recklessly, certainly not calling everything that came up to them, but seemed to be waffling between spending a lot of the match open and a little of the match open. So I think that probably their strategy is pretty simple. They tend to call pawn for, I imagine, Yaku-high weights, and keeping an open hand like that will give you a small score, but it'll give you a score, assuming that your opponents aren't playing defense. So.
Okay. Test. Better? Okay.
Better.
All right. Ash, please tell us about what you see in these hands here. It looks like Ivy's got off to a very strong start with a 4-tile sequence. That's I think a 2-sided weight on turning into 2 sequences. And a 4-5 and an 8-9. You don't necessarily like to see like an 8-9 pro sequence, but it's not nothing. Strings has they've got a mess of Montiles. They could very well go for the pure straight. That said, they seem to have ditched the pure straight. So
I wonder why.
Their hand is very strong in general, but it's possible that they're just ditching the 1-2 block, the 1-2 mon block, which I don't disagree with. You know, those single-sided weights are annoying.
Yeah, it's true. If you're going for pure tile efficiency, it's definitely better to get But no, they have an 8-9 block in the hand right now, so maybe they'll be regretting that decision later.
Possibly. They do open their hand with the three wind tiles, the 3 east winds, which gives them Yaku, even though their hand is open. 3.
So both Strings and Ivy with a Yaku high.
Reach です。
Thecollest would be set up extremely well for 7 pairs, were it not for that stubborn sequence in the middle, which is very good, but not fitting of the hand shape.
No. The 3 goes into Ricci, but it's a closed weight, and 2 of the tiles they need are already locked up in the Thecollest's hand. You see highlighted in red there the two 6 Zo tiles that 3 is waiting on are not only they seem to be going for 7 pairs, which makes this which if 3 knew would make this
3 only knew.
Fairly annoying. I would be fairly annoyed. But they are the first to enter Ricci, which is good for them, obviously,
It is.
Con.
There's a con from Ivy. We'll see what that does to the value of everyone's hands. And suddenly the Thecollest hand has become much more valuable with 2 extra Dora added to the mix.
Yeah, and I believe Strings entered Tenpai there.
Yes, indeed.
And they would also be annoyed to know that their 2-sided weight, 4 of those tiles are locked up in are also locked up in the Thecollest hand. We might. With just 20 tiles left in the wall to go.
Oh, there we go.
You hate to see that.
You do hate to see it. That's the thing about Ricci, is that it leaves you very open to. You cannot play defensively when in Ricci. You just discard whatever you got, and that's other people's best chance to get an unexpected deal in.
Let's move on to looking at Strings' perspective, since they're the dealer. Not what I would call the best hand in the world. They're holding on to those dragon. They're holding on to those dragon tiles.
It's been suggested to me many a time that I track how long someone holds on to every solo honor tile. Unfortunately, this would be extremely annoying to track. It would be very funny.
I mean, there are programs out there that that are able to automatically read what tiles are in. They're automatically able to read the tiles in people's hands given a log link. On the other hand, this is a Slam and Cup tournament, so we don't have the budget for this kind. It wouldn't be in character, folks. If we.
I'm only so high tech.
This is true.
I'm high tech enough to figure out how to run a spreadsheet completely of my own wits. Not discarding the green dragon there.
Possibly they're holding on to it as a safe discard, but we will see whether that pans out for them. Ivy with a very strong looking hand, although they've got 2 pairs. And they're like, they're what is the word I'm looking for? They're right
Blocks?
Next to each other. They're right next to each other, which
Adjacent.
is usually they're adjacent pairs, which is usually a good. Oh, well, there you go. It was a good thing.
Abandon it. You were saying it could have been a pure double sequence.
Yeah, but the problem is that it's kind of annoying because they had a 7-8-9, so
Yeah, it's always tough to figure out whether you should change your hand shape in order to get that extra Yaku. I am extremely personally fond of pure double sequence, so I often go for it in situations that probably objectively don't make much sense.
But yeah, first to go into Ricci here, they might not be pleased to know that a bunch of those tiles are in other people's hands. That a bunch of the
But
tiles
you can
they're
see
waiting
that
for.
Strings 3 and Thecollest are all playing defensively here deliberately. All of these discards seem to be mostly... What's the word for it? It starts with a G.
Tiles that other...
There's the sumo.
Oh, there's the sumo. Turned out not to matter.
Genbetsu, that's what it was. Genbutsu.
Yes, 100% safe tiles.
100% safe tile.
Tiles that have been discarded by the person in Ricci, or that have been discarded after they went into Ricci. Let's move on to spec. They get a pair of honor tiles, but they're not valuable honor tiles since they're not since they're the dealer, they're east wind, and the pile and the pair of north tiles are, well, you know, they could always become a a triplet, could always be your pair, which would still allow you to remain in Pinfu, of course. Oh my goodness! Ivy goes into. Ivy immediately gets the three dragons there.
I know. It's I mean, better to discard into it sooner than later.
Here we go.
It's eventually gonna come around.
Heel behavior from Ivy.
I would read out what Ivy told Fish to say on air last time, but I feel like it'd be untoward. 3 setting up very well for a pure double sequence, speaking of pure double sequences.
Yes.
But I feel like usually the best use for non-value honor tiles is they can be a terminal or honor that can fill your, if you're trying to go for an all terminals honors hand, they can be an easier to obtain honor tile that still counts for that, even though it's valueless. And like you said, they can be a good Pinfu pair, or they can be a good sequence for, say, an all sequences, a good set for an all sets hand, all triplets, because people are more likely to deal into it. There's the Tenpai. Who's that coming from?
That's strings. Strings.
Oh, there you go. It's a pair weight, Tunky. No, it's a different pair weight now. If you only knew. String's doing the wise thing of changing weights if it appears that one of those tiles is less obtainable than the other. That being said, all of the 2s are tied up in people's hands.
Oh, and there you go. They change up their weight. That's it's a 2-sided weight on the 3 and the 6, but it's still a double pair weight.
It is a better weight.
It's a better weight, but it's not. It's still not ideal necessarily. It might require a little bit of like hand reshuffling to end up with, you know, the what everyone wants, the open weight. But it's not a bad situation right now.
I think they're in second place. Yeah, second place. So a cheap hand is definitely not a bad play here. I believe that the prevalent wind will be their only option.
Oh no!
Ooh! 3 deals into Ivy for, or 3 deals into a hand.
I believe the second time. Oh dear. Well, they're currently in 4th. Not by a lot. There haven't been a lot of like huge hand. There hasn't been a huge hand so far, and it'd still take like a Baimon to knock them out. So we're not at risk of the game ending suddenly anytime soon. But it is still something to consider as we enter the East 4 round, halfway through the game. Asterisk.
Asterisk. I get very pleased when you can see Ivy there has just obtained a Yakuhai weight. Awesome. Always love to see it. I always personally get very relieved as a person who manually scours these game logs to see that no repeat counters have been added in the first half.
Ooh, they get the Yakuhai and they get the Thecollest gets the Yakuhai. Let's look at their hand and see what weights they have. The 2-3, the 7-8
pretty good right now.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
There's the pair that they've just added.
Yeah, good move. Given,
and the East Wind will be doubly valuable for them as both prevalent and seat wind, so it's very good for them to have that.
Let's see. Does anyone else have a faster hand? I don't think so, really.
Yeah. Ooh, the pair has turned into a triplet.
They still have, they've got the pair of 4s. The 5 so is a little superfluous right now, but you never know.
Yeah, the 5 so looks like it's gonna be the one to go on the chopping block right now.
And we're in go mode, folks. Let's see what tiles are out there. Ivy with the 2-4-6 proto sequence, which is dangerous. Which is dangerous if they get a 3, if they get a 3-mon and discard the 2-mon. Sorry, if they get a 3-mon and discard the 6-mon.
Very possible for that to be discarded. Now Ivy has just entered 10 pi with a 2-peen, 5-peen weight.
Unlucky for...
Also very possible for that to get discarded if Strings decides to ditch that 1-2 block.
Unlucky
and for... And there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Strings got dealt 2 6-mon, which is a cruel fate, and I watched the first of those go into their hand as they chose to discard the solo honor instead, but the second one did not fit so nicely into that hand shape. And our first repeat counter of the game.
Depending on how you feel about TakoYaku, you either love or hate to see it.
Oh, look at String's hand right now. Look at all those wins.
Oh, are they gonna... No, don't do it, Strings. Don't go for it. Don't do it.
There we go. Beautiful. Choosing not to do the 9 terminal and draw. We love to see it.
Do you?
I love to see it. Well, I would love to have a couple more 9 terminal initial draws in my spreadsheet. We do not have enough right now. We only have the 1.
So what could happen here is that if they draw another south and another north, they could get the 4. Oh boy, is that a Yakuman? I don't remember. I think that's a Yakuman.
Well, it's you can get little 4 wins or big 4 wins from this. Big 4 wins is, I believe, a Yakuman. Little 4 wins is also a Yakuman. I think big 4 wins is a double Yakuman. Either way, you can see. Oh, they did not go for it.
Oh, they didn't go for it. Why? How come?
Why?
That's
a confusing play. It's potentially that they're just gonna choose to.
Are they gonna... Do they not know about this, Yakuman?
Well, it's possible that they're gonna go for Chitoitsu instead. 7 pairs. Because they do have 4 pairs in that hand already. What I was gonna say is that both East Wind and West Wind, what they have pairs of, are valuable for them. Because that is both Prevalent Wind and Seat Wind. So they could get 2 Yaku easily just by getting pawns of both of those. But not to mention the potential of getting another South Wind. I don't think the North Wind's gonna happen based on what 3 is holding.
No, I mean, they might end up ditching, depending on, if they're going for a Pinfu or something. But I don't think they're gonna give that up either.
You can see that what Ivy's got going on is an all triplets hand. It's just entered 10 high. And we've got a couple other Yaku high weights. 3 has one on North Wind, and TakoLest has one on Red Dragon. So it's ripe. Is Strings gonna go for this call? No.
Okay. Wow.
TakoLest going for that call on the 1-mon. I imagine similar thought process to what I regularly do. Ooh. Sorry, that con is terrifying to me. Similar thought process to what I usually have, which is I bet I'm gonna get a pawn on the Red Dragon at some point. So I might as well open my hand.
Go big or go home is the kind of thought process there, yeah. Strings holding on to that Red Dragon they need, but possibly just reluctant to give it up, given that Ivy is so obviously close to something.
Yes, it's.
Oh, and there's oh dear. Okay, well.
It's another 10 high hand. It's just discarding that North Wind is going to be a deal in.
Everyone's hands here just full of nuclear bombs.
Ivy has abandoned all triplets and is now added a sequence to that hand for more weights, which is, or I guess not more weights because it was.
Yeah, that would that increase their Shanten.
Well, no, they're still in Tenpai.
Are they?
Yeah. They're waiting on
yeah,
2-so and 5-so now.
But what Yaku do they have?
Ooh, it's a good question. I don't believe they have a Yaku at this point, though. So you're quite right.
Possibly they're ditching?
Or, could be a fold. Yeah. Oh. No, they did have a Yaku. What was the Yaku?
What was the Yaku?
All simples.
Ah.
Easy as that. Easy as Tanya.
I don't think
not an extremely valuable hand. Not as valuable as all triplets would be, but
it's a good move. I think it's a
anything to advance the game if you're in first.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of exciting hands that round.
Let's have a look at Ivy's hand. 2 West Winds, couple. Okay, they've got one meld going. They've got one meld and a pair, and a few proto melds and the 2 West Winds, which I would not be surprised to see them giving up. They're having to think about.
Yeah, it's valueless, but it is a pair.
It is a pair. We discussed
this one earlier, and they declined to open their hand for it, so either they're discarding it or keeping it as a pair.
Mm-hmm.
Strings has lots of solo honors to ditch.
Mm-hmm.
3 has a Yaku high weight somewhere in there. And
Ivy thinking deeply about this one. They are going to ditch the Winds. Going. Yep, there they go. This hand looks ripe for Pinfu, but I imagine they were trying to decide between ditching the 1-2 soul or the because
very like true.
A proto sequence, a 1-2 proto sequence is le garbage, as they say in the in the Mahjong community.
Yeah, I would like to see Ivy get a 3 identical sequences here, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen based on the fact that all of the 3-sos are out.
Oh.
But only we can see that. Either way, a beautiful Pinfu will do just as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not as valuable, but valuable in our hearts.
It makes our hearts smile. It's good for the soul.
It's good for the Mahjong soul. They gonna go for the Riichi here? Riichi. There we go.
But the weight is not. It's not looking good, Chief.
No.
I didn't see until then that the 3-so was not part of any like proto sequence for. And that's a Mangan, and they're the dealer.
And they're the dealer.
Boy. 3 in a rough position right now, and indeed. Ivy continues. The tiles continue to smile upon them because they've gotten 3 melds right out of the box. How does this keep happening?
Sometimes. Listen, if Pep Boy has shown us anything, it's that these tiles have some kind of personality.
And now it's a 5-tile sequence, which means that it's a 2. It's not a 3-sided weight, but it's a 2-sided weight.
It's a 2-sided weight.
Sometimes you just gotta laugh.
Sometimes you just gotta laugh.
And there's the pair they need. Oh boy. Mm-hmm.
It could be another very good hand for Ivy Girls Kiss Girls.
They do, don't they?
Sort of an Ivy torture time situation. Thecollest using that emote to identify that Ivy tends to wait a long time, usually when about to call sumo or call wrong. Not true here, just thinking time. Very hard. So now, in order to get Ivy into Ishan 10, the 5-mon is what's going to go, but it is either 4-peen, 7-peen, 6-so, or another 9-so will do it. It looks like they're solidifying 9-so as the pair. and keeping that sequence as a two-sided weight.
Let's have a little look at what other people are cooking with while we're waiting for anyway.
The end of Ivy torture time.
Exactly. Strings with a very strong hand, it looks like. So there's the one meld, the pair, another meld, and a two-sided weight for the last one. And then they're hunting for that last red dragon tile. 3 has opened their hand. It looks like they're going for all simples. So, not the most valuable hand, but
it's interesting.
Possibly
3 does have a red 5, which makes that hand more valuable. 2 red 5s even, which amounts to 2 Han in addition to the Tanyao. But 3 is also in a deep last place right now.
Playing risky here. We'll see whether it's a decent risk for arguably not that much in reward. We will see.
Exactly.
And 10 pie for Ivy. Nobody else even knows that they're in it, but it's furry 10. So they're not going to be. They're not going to be actually entering. They're not going to be able to run off of any of the tiles out there. But they're not unreachy, which means that they can change up their weight if they so desire.
No. Ooh, and 3 does get that.
Nice.
This would be a significantly better hand if 3 was the dealer in this moment. But you can't change what you can't change, and that will get 3 a little bit closer to climbing out of last.
It's not insurmountably far away. It's only south.
It's definitely not. All it takes is one good Mongon.
A big Mongon, if you will.
Big Mongon. Maybe a beautiful Pinfu.
Not the kind of hand you like to see if you're strings.
No, this one's kind of a mess. 3 pairs could... I mean, I'm always an advocate for Chitoitsu, but...
Yeah. Lots of, weird closed weights and, pair weights, and it's just... It's one of those hands that is going to be difficult to develop quickly, depending, of course, on what tiles you happen to draw. 3, on the other hand, seems to have gotten a very good hand. They have one meld ready to go right there, the 5, 6, 7 pin, and then another meld for
in the 7, 8, 9, potentially a pair in the 6s.
It's a good hand. It could develop a lot more quickly than the kinds of hands that other people have going on. Thecollest still having to throw out some garbage in the 2 and 5 pin, and Ivy is just stuck with a bunch of honor tiles.
Yeah, well, it is time to remind everyone that since we are in South Hand, as I so often forget, South is now the prevalent wind. So that East wind is not it's valuable. A valueless pair, but the South wind is not.
For Ivy, it is. If Strings was holding on to the East winds, then it would be Seat wind, and then that's but it's not the prevalent wind. Even if Ivy were to snag another south wind, it's still not looking amazing.
We are on Chitoitsu alert in Strings' hand. 5 pairs have been achieved.
5 pairs.
And I will note that Ivy did decline to open her hand off of a discarded south wind earlier. So, what's going on? Who's to say?
Who is to say?
Three's hand is developing nicely. It looks like 3 is either going to ditch that 2-mon or the 3-mon, depending on what comes to get them into Tenpai.
So it doesn't really seem to matter all that much. It's nobody else is Nobody else is in Tenpai, and doesn't really feel all that close personally. I mean, like obviously you see
I think
people's
it's
hands
two
developing.
tiles away that hand is. Oh, there's the. What was Ivy doing? Who's to say?
It's a deep strategy. That's what it is.
I mean, certainly the answer is she just didn't know whether or not she wanted to open her hand until this moment. But
But it could also be deep strategy. You never know.
Reach です。
Oh, there it is. There's the
was
Ricci.
Japan.
Won't be and
Ooh,
that
yeah,
is
no. Unlikely.
no. Well, you never know. Not every three so tile is actually accounted for. So
It's true. There is one left, and it's entirely possible that Collis might choose to fold at some point and accidentally discard something from that beautiful triplet that 3 does actually want.
I've been baited into discarding, folding, out of a triplet or a pair before, just because, oh well, I've got 2 tiles in my hand, they're right here. What's the worst that could happen? Baimon.
Strings has entered the dilemma which I find myself often facing, which is where now they've got a sequence. Well, not anymore. But for a moment, they had a sequence just in case they wanted to diversify.
3.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Nothing that could have been done about that.
Okay,
Not yet.
It's not over just yet. But wow.
It's not explosion time.
They're in deep here. They are the dealer, so they can. They are
small
the dealer.
Hands, 3. Small hands
so they
and
can afford
patience.
to, yeah. And it's a decent hand that they've got. They've just picked up a meld and a pair there, and then an open weight on the 7 but a closed weight on the 6 and 8 mon.
I am really fond of a 7-8 block, just because a 7-8 block or a 2-3 block, because terminals are garbage, so people discard them more often.
Let's have a look at other people's hands here.
Today's solo honor holder of the day is Ivy, who has discarded several mon for discarding a white or red dragon.
Do you suppose they're folding?
Not yet, certainly.
It
would be very strange if she was folding this early. I think she's just hoping that something will happen. And I imagine that a lot of
the white dragon. Oh, there you go. Yep,
well, there's the white dragon. Good.
After Strings discards theirs, and I imagine that 3's and 3G.
3G. And Zendaya is 3G.
What are they waiting on? It's a double. It's a double side. It's an open weight.
It's that beautiful double-sided weight that I was just talking about.
And
Ivy, if she had discarded that red dragon a little bit earlier, I would like to pointedly remark, would have avoided dealing into that red dragon pawn.
Oh, there we go. You love to see that if you're 3.
Vengeance. Beautiful vengeance. Beautiful 1 Han 40 fu vengeance.
You take those. You take those when you're the dealer.
Small hands, infinite patience.
This hand is also looking good for them, I would say. They've got 2 melds right off the bat, and
I do love opening with a triplet like that.
And the 7-8 mon weight, like we saw last time, and a 5. The red 5.
Red 5 will do good. Both the Thecollest and Strings are solo honor holders today. But although the Thecollest does have a Yaku high weight in one of those, And I imagine is hoping somehow for a little 3 or big 3 dragon to happen here. It's not going to, but I can respect the hope.
You can respect the hope.
None of those tiles that he's discarded were going to improve his hand. So
it's an aggressive move, but I can understand playing aggressively, especially as we get down to the last few hands of the round. Although
there goes those green dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Now get rid of the rest.
Get rid of they do. They're listening. They know what's going on. And 3-chi. Another 3-chi, and this time, well, no, it's not all simples. It's not Pinfu, but it is still
it's a
something.
hand.
And they've got 1 Dora.
I would really like to see a I don't know, it would just be nice just to see a con, get some extra Dora in there, maybe some extra Dora.
You
could get a closed con really on the 7-peen, I believe, somehow, in some worlds.
Exactly. Well, it would be really funny if someone conned and then it was the 6-peen. That would be funny. That's my.
Let this be a reminder to our viewers that it's usually a bad idea to con when someone else is in reaching.
Yeah, but the button, it calls to me. It calls to me.
I know. It's very hard not to.
Oh no, they don't go for it because it's locked up as part of a sequence now, and no way.
It's not. It's a 9-mon, not a 9-mon. Fortunately.
Oh, it's a 9-mon. Listen.
But Ivy was discarding defensively there.
An upside down 6 is a 9.
You can see that string of defensive discards in the 1-so, 4-peen, 8-so. All of those are Genbutsu with 3's discards. And
done.
I knew there was a danger. There was danger there for the Thecollest there. And it pans out. 3 is slowly clawing their way out of the hole.
Yeah, it can be done.
But this
hand also not bad.
It's not terrible. You know, they do have the 2-sided weight for a sequence in the Mon tiles. But no melds.
Fit
no
into
melds.
Their hand, it would have been very nice, but it does not.
No melds built in, so this hand is going to be a lot slower than the other ones they were given. They'll be grateful for the chance to, you know, gain just a little bit more ground, but I would be surprised. I'd be a little bit surprised if they manage to parlay this one into a victory. You never know, though.
You never know. On the other hand, the Thecollest is very close to sliding out of 2nd place and is now far enough below the starting score that it will land them negative UMA if they end here, even in 2nd place. So, it is imperative for everyone except Ivy to win hands at this point. And the Thecollest has a pretty good starting hand, I would say. Those are some melds that are almost ready.
Yeah, they've got 2 melds that are just they've got two ready melds in the triplet in the sequence there. They've got their pair, and they okay.
It was an interesting discard. I also appreciate Strings had that pair of the 6-peen and pair of the 7-peen for a while, and managing to pick up that 8-peen is important because it gives them both flexibility and the possibility for a Yaku. That hand is shaping up incredibly well. And Tenpai, just as I say so.
There you go. I would be a little bit Oh no, oh dear. Are they gonna? Oh, it's a defensive play. Yeah. They're folding. That's a fold.
Con.
There's the con.
It's an open.
5-so is now a Dora, and 3 has a copy of that. We love to see.
Open con, but they're they've got the 7-8-9 meld there.
Yeah, it's no Yaku at the moment.
You can sort of think of it
Three
as
decides
an
to open the hand.
I can understand it. You know, as the dealer, you want to play fast.
Yeah, speed.
Speed, power.
And this hand is getting really close to all simples tempi. Thecollest clearly ditching terminals here in an attempt to get that back into a Yaku state. And there goes the end of South 3. The single Yaku. It was not a pure double sequence because the hand was open. Nevertheless. South 4.
South 4. It all comes down to this. Strings and Thecollest will very much want to avoid third place. 3 still in it potentially to enter contention for third place. And
this is still a torture game at the moment, in the sense that all players except Ivy would be at negative UMA if the game ended right now. So it is imperative, again, for Strings and Collest to try and pick up valuable enough hand here. At least 2,000, maybe 3,000 points. Just to scrape them into the positives. Strings especially, with their current position in the standings. Thecollest just denied the con, and it'd be very sad. I mean, it makes sense, but it'd be very sad.
It makes you sad in an existential sense. What kind of world is this where people just turn down con?
I know. Thecollest's hand, though, is quite nice. You can see
we'll switch over to look at their
big old set of sequences.
Oh boy! Look at that.
Shaping up, and 2 triplets already in the hand. It is.
Oh, there you go. That's a pure double sequence. Yep.
And we are
the East tile. That's interesting.
East is the Dora, so it is 1, likely to be discarded, and 2, valuable. I imagine the 3 will be what gets ditched. On the other hand, Ivy are antagonist.
Wow.
I think it's right and good and moral to root for the underdog here at TakoYaku.
As you think. As you were saying, Ash?
Yeah, that hand is shaping up. It wasn't the greatest in the beginning, but Ivy is clearly focused on tile efficiency here, as a single win will get her out of this game with a first place in a highly positive UMA.
Ash, tell me here, who here is closest to a Yakuman?
Who here is closest to a Yakuman?
Because it feels like that's what it'll take. It'll take to knock Ivy out of first place.
I think. I think if Thecollest hadn't discarded that 5 keen earlier, then he could have just gone for 4 concealed triplets, and it would have been great. I think it could have been done. I think Thecollest is still closest to a Yakuman out of everyone here.
Always push for Yakuman, as Thecollest
Always
says.
push. Keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
We are on Chitoitsu alert on stand, just so everyone. Beautiful Chitoitsu.
I appreciate you letting us know.
Ivy cruelly has gone for an extra Yaku by discarding that 19 and changing from a 7-8-9 to a 6-7-8.
All simples. Oh, how come you are doing this?
Thecollest does not call Michi there. Maybe going for a spiritual read Ipatsu. And they do have a Yaku, so they can afford to avoid calling Michi. It's also true that it would lose him some points if he called Ricci and did not deliver. So, May, on the other hand, Ivy,
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! There we go. Just the tile they were looking for.
Sumo, Ipeko, red 5, 6,000.
And they're the dealer. They're the dealer. The game continues.
And the dealer. The game continues. Now in positive Uma. And
Strings considerably further behind.
That was great.
Very well done from them. And you know, it's not inconceivable actually that the Thecollest could climb into first. If they got a very
pair of Dora red dragons.
Oh, and look at that. They've got. No, go ahead.
Ivy's and Three's contesting pairs of white dragons. They will never. Two houses both alike in dignity.
Oh my goodness! Could three do the little 3 dragons though?
Certainly. If a green dragon comes their way, I would definitely not say no to it.
Strings, it looks like their connection is having some issues. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see
we're
whether
getting some deal discards here.
Internet wobbles.
Which I feel bad for.
Yeah.
The Thecollest is setting up for a possibly open hand. Quick hand. Tanyo hand.
Still though, you know, I forgot
those
what
closed weights on 357 peen though are gonna hurt.
Yeah, they're not exactly what you like to see if you're the Thecollest there. And on top of that, you know, the if any of those weights pan out. Oh,
here we go.
Yeah. So as I was saying, you know, if any of those weights pan out, then that's they're waiting on a 2 or a 5, and as you will see there, the 5 peen is
3. 3.
No. No. Oh no.
Team Food Tanyao. It's not as bad as it could be by any means, but if the Thecollest had called Rishi there, he would have spiritually and psychically predicted an Ipatsu, which feels a bit bad.
Well, you know, they're certainly not going to complain about eking ever closer, potentially, to the lead. It's possible here.
It's possible.
Although I don't know necessarily with this hand.
No, this one's a mess. Straight up. On the other hand, 3 playing an aggressive game.
Yeah, look at that. All opening their hand very quickly.
Strings' connection has returned.
We're back. The world is back in balance.
We are, as they say, so back.
We are so back. Let's look at Ivy's hand here. Would it be fair to say, Ash, that this hand is also a mess?
It is. I mean, I am incredibly I love triplets. I love pairs. That 6 mon and 9 mon, those 2 pairs, really, they warm my heart. They're not good.
They're not good pairs. They're not doing anything. Especially the pair of 9s. I mean, you know,
It's rough out there. Closed con.
Go, do it.
No.
Do it. Oh.
No.
Why?
There's plenty of normal reasons not to declare closed con. But it makes me sad in my heart, and they're going to get the option to declare it every single turn from now on, and every time they decline it, it's going to make me even sadder. That being said, we are on Chitoitsu alert.
Yeah, it's true, we're on Chitoitsu alert.
It would be very, very funny. A con! It would be very, very funny to do Chitoitsu with 2 pairs of the same thing.
It would be very. Come on. Look at how beautiful that button.
That button keeps showing up.
It's a beautiful color. It's a beautiful button, Thecollest. Just press it.
It is.
It's calling to you.
It's calling to you with a K.
You're named Thecollest.
I know. Shouldn't you be calling? But no, I think that I've been trying to determine what Yaku 3 could get out of this hand, and it's looking like they are banking on some friendly discards for all triplets, which would be and is very nice.
So who's holding on to a four pin here? Nobody is.
Nobody, which means it's very possible. The Thecollest has given up on that G22. Sad.
But we may see. We may very well see.
The Khan.
The Khan.
Khan, please come home.
Please do it.
It's very sad because there's still 18. There's still an 18 out there.
When will Khan come home from the war?
But because they declined an 8-peen pawn earlier, it's a bit sad.
Yeah.
I doubt that 8-peen is leaving Ivy's hand.
No, I doubt it either. Come on, press the button.
When I record this in the spreadsheet, I want you to know every time they choose not to call Khan is a declined call. Their call rate is going to go drastically down.
And listen, the Thecollest. You're named the Thecollest.
I know.
It's
borderline criminal.
Exactly. This as
Ivy's hand not that close to Tenpai despite appearances.
Yeah.
No, it's Ishan 10. It's Ishan 10. Those two double-sided weights just made me squint for a moment.
3, even if a friendly discard or draw were to happen to 3, they still don't have another pair.
Yeah. It's tough. We could get an exhausted draw here, which would not be bad. Ivy is planning for that by taking that chi, getting into Tenpai as fast as possible.
Although
that
pressed
is
a
not
button.
the discard that would have gotten her into Tenpai.
Well, we're down to the last draw here.
Well set up for all triplets, but not in Tenpai. No one was.
Nobody. Wow.
No tell all around. What an exciting hand.
That's the end of this match. Let's have a look at our standings here.
It is. Wow, Thecollest managed to salvage those plus 7.4 Uma out of nowhere.
Just a bunch of some very good play, I would say, but also some lucky hands. That's how it is in mahjong. You can kind of make do without either one, but it does take both to really skyrocket out ahead. And props to the Thecollest for managing to play their way in to second place in this match and ending up positive on Uma. And do we have to tell you who won here? I don't think we do.
What don't we have to tell them though?
Ivy, casually, as one does, getting 41.8 Uma.
Yeah, that's normal.
That's a normal amount of Uma.
I'm putting it into the spreadsheet now. It's not looking good, folks.
Let's update our standings right here.
Yeah. I will as soon as I can. I'm inputting things as fast as possible.
I'm shuffling around windows and holding a calculator.
Oh boy.
So 3. Let's start with Ivy. 1.8 plus 4. Not 265.8. It feels like that's the result, but it's just 65.
I would like to remind everyone that 3 was in the lead at the
Hmm.
top of this match, and has now fallen from that position significantly.
Sometimes sometimes the tiles just don't like you, and I think
Sometimes the tiles just...
that was definitely the case for 3 here.
Yeah. The Pep Boy hypothesis.
The Pep Boy the Pep Boy theorem. Oops.
When the tiles don't treat you well, you can call it Pep theory. So now in the overall standings, Ivy has taken a commanding, not a first place overall, but just at the table, a commanding first place at the table with 65.8 overall UMA.
Can you remind us
3
who has the
fallen...
overall lead, incidentally?
Who has the overall lead was what you asked?
Yeah, who is the overall lead in UMA?
May. It's a May Tetris evening.
You know, they got up to 99.9 over these last 2 matches.
I mean, someone's just got to TakoYaku on them out of existence.
I'm getting an update from our producers. That was in one match. That was in a single match that May did this. We're just gonna let that lie.
It's not looking good.
It's a normal amount.
3 is really looking for... 3 currently rests at -1 total UMA, which is not terrible. I'd like to be very clear. In order to get into our knockout rounds, you only have to be in the top 16. So you're not looking for necessarily a completely positive score in order to qualify. But it would be very nice for 3 if 3 could get out of the negatives soon.
You know, pretty much all you have to do here, given that Mahjong is a zero-sum game when it comes to UMA. All you have to do is end up positive. Like that's, you know,
all you have to do is end up.
So long as nothing too weird happens, ending up positive is probably going to land you is probably going to get you into our quarterfinals. A lot of weird things happen in Mahjong.
A lot of weird things happen in Mahjong. It could be much, much worse.
I'm gonna folks. We're gonna take a little break. Until our next match, but we will be with you. We will be back with you. So don't go anywhere. Or do. We're not your dad.
It's true.
Hi, folks. So
Yes?
I lost track of time a little bit, but we're here.
Oh boy. It's time.
It's time. Sorry. Oh man. Listen. This is the trade-off. You get to watch TakoYaku. You get to watch this TakoYaku on the Slammin' Cup. Hi, we're back. But the trade-off is that sometimes the guy who runs the streams doesn't take his ADHD medication in the morning.
Well, like, you can only ask for so much.
Can you?
From a simple MRM.
I did manage to get you back in time for East 1 at the very least. And look at the hand that Strings has here. And they're in Ricci. And that's a 3-sided weight. Oh, that is something you love to see. It's tempered slightly by the fact that a lot of here we go. This could be it.
No,
and they
quite.
play defensively.
The defensive. But you know who doesn't play defensively? It's 3.
Ooh, that is harsh.
Early win for Strings is extremely nice here.
And the two
beautiful
Dora.
the
two hidden Dora.
Yeah.
You can't plan around that kind of thing, but you can hope. And wow, Strings out to an early lead here, and remains the dealer. So if they so choose, they can continue to accrue points here.
Chat, I want to be very clear. I think Strings should, and it's morally right to, obliterate everyone at this table.
It's true. It's a good
festival.
emoji. It's a good emoji.
I wish I had Tactical Retreat. It's very good.
It's a very good emote. Does it
the
give
only text
information?
I have in my emote set is Kaguya Hime get off.
That's also a very good one.
It's helpful.
All I have is superb. And I feel like every time, and I feel like first of all, there aren't that many chances to use it where it doesn't just look like patting myself on the back. And the second is that when I do use it, I worry that people are thinking that I'm being sarcastic. So it's fine.
Well, true TakoYaku fans will know that in our last round, you and I, MRM, brothers in battle, we were up against Ivy, and I did make liberal use of the get off emote in order to express how I feel when Ivy does something incredibly that just shouldn't be allowed.
Exactly. Banned strats in Ricci. Banned for being too powerful.
3 has a Tanyao in progress. But the remaining tiles look like a discard pile.
They do. It's not ideal.
Not ideal. Strings is very committed to keeping this hand closed.
At the very least, I'll say this much. Tiles to have while you're waiting for something to happen. 4, 3, 4. Not terrible. Not bad tiles.
It's not the worst.
If I were them though, I'd ditch that I'd ditch that 8 so. But you know, there's it's not a hopeless situation by any means. Oh wow.
It's the second
I'm not sure I would have done that if I were them, because that would have opened up the weight there.
Well, now 4 is double Dora, Formon, which Strings has 2 of. So I think Strings should be allowed to kill.
Strings should be allowed to kill and murder. This is true.
It was incredibly fortunate, by the way, that when they decided to discard those North Winds, those 2 6-so fell into their lap.
Mm-hmm. Although it doesn't really solve that many problems for them because right now
Yeah, they were
they're
getting rid of that pair because they had enough pairs. They
they
had
they
too many
they
blocks.
they didn't want any more pairs. They wanted to have the fours. And now they double want the fours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, the 6s are like they're good tiles to hold on to if you're looking for a weight. And
Yeah.
they're because they play into so many potential sequences. Um,
I feel it's definitely going to be. Do you know the term that I don't know in this moment for waiting on the last tile of?
Boom.
if you're Ash, when you ask me this question, remember that I've only known how to play Mahjong for less than
I
months.
feel like you know more words than me.
Oh no. Well, we're down to our last 3 tiles.
Boom.
And
Yeah,
nobody's
there
in
you go.
Tenpai.
Collis getting into Tenpai right before that exhaustive draw hits. Very wise.
Yeah,
Ivy looks to be doing the same thing.
And they something could still happen here. Let's see. This discard would take us down to 1 tile, and then 3s. Oh no! Oh no! That's under the river. Holy cow!
You've seen it here first. Under the river, 3 Dora, 2 red 5
Under the Dora, under the river,
Ivy, get off!
How is this allowed?
Oh, see, that was the wall being as cruel as it could possibly be. Just unreal.
Unreal.
Well, Strings and Ivy are fighting hard once again for the title of first place Uma in this match.
They are fighting.
It's two wildly different narratives, because what Ivy is fighting for really is command of first seed here. If she is to get this first place in this match and get the bonus plus 15 Uma and get all of the riches and rewards that come with that, she's well in the running for first. So long as May doesn't have the best round of Mahjong anyone's ever had. Again. But what Strings is fighting for is exactly the opposite, which is just to claw
just
into
to stay alive.
The top 6.
Yeah. And then you have Strings in the Thecollest here. You have 3 in the Thecollest here, which let's cut very, very briefly to our results screen.
Ooh.
You know, 3 and the Thecollest on the bubble. And speak of the devil, you've got 3 declaring Ricci right there.
Not quite declaring Ricci.
Oh no, they don't declare Ricci. Yes.
Waiting a moment for maybe a.
Yeah, I would
go.
Oh.
Almost.
They don't. But it's still not part of any blocks, you know.
Sometimes, if May has taught me anything, it's that sometimes you just wait around to declare Ricci just to see.
Just to see what happens.
If you can get that Ipatsu out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Manifest it from the ether.
And it could have happened. It could have happened.
It's not happening.
It's not happening, but
this is happening.
It's not a hand to be upset about, you know? Not a hand to be upset about at all. What is happening?
We're exploding the Thecollest with our minds.
Oh no.
700 points remain. This game could end very quickly.
The Thecollest cannot even call Ricci anymore. You need a minimum of 1,000 points to do this. Oh dear.
Those 3 green dragons. That hand is not bad.
It's not a bad hand. They could still stay alive here. They've got a meld. They've got a pair.
Beautiful con.
Ooh.
It doesn't help improve that hand,
but you know, it's another Uradora. It's another chance.
It won't be an Oradora for them, since it is not a closed hand.
Oh, I see. Yes. Yes. I knew this. This was a
This is why you have me here.
Yes.
The Mahjong knower. Okay, there we go. We're going for that fast hand. None of those tiles are out, so it's very possible that they come up in the wall and get discarded.
Mm-hmm. It's a respectable move considering that they can't reach you right now and they need just a little bit more.
Yep. So they got a Yaku High, they've got one Dora, and that's all they need and all they've got. Take what you can when you have 700 points. Ooh, and strings. Entering Tenpai by virtue of only having one tile. Tonki, wait. This is one of the hands of all time.
One of the hands of all time. And, you know, even if strings...
Thecollest doesn't get it. Strings gets it. It's a small hand, but it bumps them up into first place.
Yeah, a good move from them. Although
now it's really Thecollest time to shine in the dealer spot.
They could theoretically claw all the way back up into first place.
I mean, it's time for the fast money round.
Mm-hmm. And it's good. It's a good hand. They've got 2 melds right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
An open weight. And they've got a run of 4, which is...
Ooh, there we go.
That could turn into something very spicy.
Could turn into something beautiful.
Yeah.
Or it could just turn into 3 of the same sequence with a 5-peen, a nice 5-peen. And that is just as good.
That is just as good, exactly.
Would leave them in a 2-sided weight on 1 mon and 4 mon. Not bad at all.
It's not. It's not just as good, to be clear. Because the reason why it's not just as good is because it doesn't scratch a weird spot in my brain. In the same way that
is
that
satisfied by only seeing an Itsu.
Yes.
I understand.
Gee.
Hi, Ivy.
Ooh. They're not good. Thecollest is, at the very least, not going to give up any of those tiles.
Yeah. Entirely possible that Strings... Well, Strings has a pair, so not quite. But it's entirely possible that 3 sheds one of those in order to clean up that weight pattern. But there goes Thecollest in Tenpai.
And it's so many weights. So many weights going on right now.
At least one of those is a beautiful Pinfu.
All of these... So, everyone's hands are just full of nuclear bombs.
I believe. I truly believe. I want... Oh, there it is! There's the triple sequence. It's come to pass. So all of these weights are valid. And we'll get them probably a triple sequence Pinfu with a red 5. It's looking good.
It's looking good.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it's looking good. Oh God!
What? Oh no! Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's all of them. That's all of the tiles. All of the tiles ever.
Every mon that you can discard is a bad idea. We're in prime double Ron territory. No single Ron! Mixed triple sequence, red 5. Not a Pinfu because it was an edge weight on the 1 mon specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But
if you're the Thecollest, you'll take it. Any day of the week, you'll take it.
That is enough points.
And that's 3 white dragon tiles right off the bat. The tiles like them. The tiles like them, folks.
Tiles like them in this moment.
But they can turn on you so fast.
He's likely to get rid of that white dragon and open up for a con. Should one choose to accept it.
Does the Thecollest want that? Yeah.
Who's to say? I want it.
We want
it.
We want it
the 2 of us.
as as people as con appreciators, we want it.
Yeah. People with a vested interest in hands which are definitely as good as they could possibly be.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I just
said,
like
Ivy is being the solo honor holder in the moment, so
it's usually they discard honor tiles very quickly. I mean, you know, they're who I learned to do that from, so
it's paying off.
And it pays off. It does pay off for them.
Which, of course, to all of our viewers is a lesson that you should never discard solo honors.
Exactly. If it works once, that means it's if it works once, it's a law of the universe.
If it works once, you should do it every time.
Yeah.
This is just like Ayana's 90% open hand rate.
The Thecollest holding on to those wind tiles though, which I'm not. You know, people have discarded the south and east winds by this point.
Ooh. Ivy
they do it. They did the thing.
The con is real, and the con is here.
The con is out of its cage. Yes.
yes. The con is out. But you can see there, the Thecollest wasn't discarding that north wind because every tile they've gotten up to this point doesn't improve their hand.
That's fair. You know, you don't want to hold on to tiles that could potentially be dangerous. And the north and east wind tiles here are very safe.
Another Tenpai. Strings coming out with teeth here.
Things are dangerous,
far from a
folks.
non-contender. The Thecollest Center's Senpai.
Oh, things are heating up. Things are very hot.
3 just content to sit in third place. A very normal observer. I think Ivy has a prescience for knowing that this is going to deal in. Yep.
It's a lot of it does come down to instinct, especially with the 5-second timer.
And she changed her weight pattern there. You can see it was not a bad tile for her to just decide to up and keep.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fold, but a defensive draw.
Ooh.
Here we go.
And they stay.
Just on Genpai. And that's okay.
That they're the dealer. They can afford to do that. And they're climbing out of that hole. Look at that.
Absolutely.
Look at them go.
Me too, Ichihime. Except I'm doing that, but with joy.
We've always been there. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Been there.
It was a good hand for Strings. We didn't remark on it much, but it was.
Strings is now in the sole possession of the lead, and you know, Ivy could well drop out of second, depending on the result of this hand.
It's a commanding lead.
We're still
just
only
as much as the Thecollest is in a devastating last. But as we know from what the Thecollest is doing right now, both of those things are very subject to change.
Very they change as frequently as the winds. No, never mind. I'm sorry.
No, you've got it.
No, I don't.
Keep it going.
I think I need to step away from the broadcast booth for a little bit. I'll be.
This is just like Saki. I've never seen Saki, but I believe that this is just like
3, 6, and 8. They not. I mean, it is a one-sided weight. And it's not any worse than and discarding the 9 so there didn't really change that. So you know, it's a good move. It's a pretty safe tile to discard.
I'm really enjoying 3's hand at the moment, which is an enchanting combination of this could be Chitoitsu or it could be a normal hand. I'm just not sure yet.
Enchanten, if you no, I'm sorry, never mind. I can't. I'm a failure as a broadcaster.
You're not. Just leave some dead air after that one. Strings has discarded 3 white dragons.
Oh, you can see them reacting to that.
I know. So bad. We've all been there.
We have all been there.
Ooh, that's a good wait sequence for Ivy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that good though. Like the South,
Yeah,
there's
there's only
already one
one of
South and
each
West
left.
Wind. Like
But it is incredibly likely that someone discards that
Yeah.
if it comes to their hand.
What's the worst that could happen? Thinks this hypothetical person. As Thecollest enters.
Yeah, here we go. A Tonki wait, and not a bad one. There is, as far as he knows, 3 of those left. As far as we know, 2. 3 is entering Tenpai. Strings is the only one out of it, appropriately with the anxious emote, and there's the... no IV torture time today. Just
today.
Sea Wind half flush. We're getting serious.
They, it's not sumo, so they're not, they didn't run off of strings, so they're not like...
Yeah.
They don't reclaim the lead, but it's still, it's a back and forth battle here.
It could have been much worse for Strings. It is pretty bad for the Thecollest, who loses a good chunk of points and, importantly, the dealership, which they won't get back for another 4 rounds.
Which would be like the last.
Make it
that
to
would be
South
the last
3,
round.
entirely possible we won't.
I've got summon scrolls burning a hole in my pocket, but I'm waiting until the event to be over, because frankly, I'm not jazzed about any of the characters.
I don't want to pull any of the event characters. I did do a couple pulls. MRM, let's discuss our gacha habits here on broadcast.
Oh no!
I did do a couple pulls for just on the regular Sakura and Bamboo paths, specifically not on the event ones, because I didn't want any event characters. And I didn't get any characters. I just got gifts. But if I had, and if it had been one of those little children, I would have been upset.
I would have also been upset. Part of me, on the one hand, I think that a lot of the Bamboo Path characters are just kind of like boring men. They're just kind of.
But there's a lot of like.
There's the dog one. There's the furry.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you don't have to worry about accidentally. You don't have to worry that you'll get one that. Yeah. Yeah.
Ivy's hand is coming along very well.
It's coming along very, very well.
Mahjong Soul is a normal client
to
do these.
It's moving swiftly on. I
have Kageyume. Should be happy with what I've got. This would be a good. It's a Tanyao hand for Ivy, so it's gonna be easy to close out.
It is kind
theoretically,
of
that's
awkward,
4 so going quick.
With so many pairs in their hand, like they would have to draw a limited supply of tiles, and some of those tiles I see are already locked up in other people's hands.
Yeah. But assuming that maybe, for example, 3 gets something better and decides to ditch that 3-4 block, it's free pawn.
Free real estate. Yeah.
This is the core dichotomy of Mahjong Soul. Of Richi Mahjong. What, I'm on something.
We're all on something. Have you been listening to the broadcast?
Is that a sequence is inherently a friendlier weight pattern, because it's no strings. It's not a big loss. It's not a big loss,
but
it is effectively a 3,000 point loss, and a loss of the lead because of that.
And they're the dealer. They know they can continue.
And Ivy is
just
the dealer.
Keep making short pushes.
It's tough. Keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
I have to finish my thought or I die. The sequences are inherently friendlier weights because it's tiles you don't necessarily already have in your hand. There's lots of them available, and it can be multiple-sided. But you can't, unless you are in Tenpai, it is harder to call them. sequence, or on the other hand, triplets, I tend to favor, even though they're not better, really, just because if someone discards it, I'll always be able to take it, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
That's the core dichotomy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough to know whether you should go for a sequence, a triplet, and it depends on the state of your hand, how close you are to Tenpai. Speaking of being close to Tenpai, Ivy. I think we're
close.
Not Ishan 10 quite, but
they're decently close. They have the problem once again of having a lot of pairs in hand.
Too many pairs, too many blocks, or not enough pairs, depending.
Depending on how you feel about 7 pairs.
Depending on how you feel about my personal pinfu, which is to say Chitoitsu. I know for a fact that Ivy feels great about Chitoitsu.
We'll see.
Don't discard that.
They feel.
Don't discard that. You feel so good about Chitoitsu. You love it.
I mean, that 5...
Ivy says
that
if
5...
you have yeah! Ivy says if you have the choice between all triplets and Chitoitsu, you should go for Chitoitsu. This is bad advice, but it is the Ivy way.
Let's look at other people's hands, shall we?
Yeah.
What do you think about...
Definitely don't hate whatever's going on with the Thecollest right now. That's
a
nice setup hand.
Although they by calling here, they've by calling it's by calling here, they open their hand, and
yes,
which is not great for them given the position they're in.
Not the greatest. They can still get a Tanyao. Not the most.
Yeah, not the most.
Definitely not the most valuable hand. Mm-hmm. And it could have been a pure double sequence they had drawn, luckily, which it can no longer be. That being said,
could have been a pinfu. You know, that's set up to be that would have been set up to be a pinfu. But you know,
it could still be a pinfu. It's just got to change shape.
I didn't think that pinfu was possible if you opened your hand.
Sorry, what was that?
Sorry, never mind. I forget I talk.
Do you think pinfu can bloom on the battlefield?
Oh my goodness. It's getting late here, folks. We're having a time.
There we go. Chitoitsu, everybody. Everyone clap.
Is it a good idea? Is it a good idea given that they're in the lead and they can afford to just run out the clock? The answer is yes. Always do this.
No, yeah, absolutely. The strings Ricci. The chasing, I mean, it's not chasing Ricci, but the chasing Ricci.
Mm-hmm.
Ivy waiting on one tile, is waiting on 2. Both of them vulnerable to dealing into one another, but there's no way of knowing what either of their weights are based on a Suji or I mean, you can always get Butsu, but there's no way of knowing based on Suji. Because they are waiting for a pair and 2 triplets.
Mm-hmm.
It's rough.
Yeah, it's rough if you're trying to play defense. Although not so rough given that we're down to 6 tiles and there's so many tiles out on the field.
Yeah.
But, you know, anything can still happen here. Although,
Strings and I share the anxious emote in this moment.
Yes, it's a... Oh, nothing's gonna happen here, folks.
Nothing's gonna happen. They both have Tenpai, so they both get paid in 2. Both those Ricci sticks go up for auction on the next round. Whoever wins gets a bonus 2,000 points.
I knew that this was also a mahjong mechanic, of course, given that I'm commentating tonight and I know all about mahjong.
Do you know MRM? Can I teach you in this moment about repeat counters and Ricci sticks entering the pool? As you can see there on the top left.
Oh, I was wondering what those
The second one is the repeat counter. The repeat counter is not an actual wager from any given player, but the amount of repeat counters does increase the payout.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing in-person mahjong, the chat is gonna ream me if I get something wrong. So, but I'm not looking at them, so it can't hurt me.
They're not real.
When you're playing in-person mahjong, the dealer physically puts those, they're called honba, out in order to indicate that this is a repeat, and that will affect the calculation of the payout at the end. But the dealer does take the honba back once the round is over. They do not actually put up honba as a wager. On the other hand, Richi sticks that have been put out do get put aside as literally the pot to be given to whoever wins the next round.
And very, very quick Richi from Strings.
Oh yeah, I stopped finishing the game. Superb.
Superb. Yes. Oh, Ivy could. Oh, they don't deal in.
No, that 6-peen is still in a position where it could go away quickly.
Yeah, if they get a good tile, and if they get a tile that I think they're definitely gonna ditch the three so first.
Yeah. The 3 or the 6, depending on whichever tile gets dealt to them. That is an improvement. Hi, this is actually a great hand for Thecollest because it is all terminals and honors, and there's that deal in.
No.
You love to see it if you're the Thecollest. You maybe don't if you're 3.
Does that not count if it's an open hand? Now I have to know.
No, it did count. It said it was a half outside hand, which I think is what it's called.
Well, half outside hand is a different deal.
Is it?
I'll look it up later.
Yeah. Look at that.
I'm looking it up now.
The adjacent pairs for Ivy there. Something you'd like to see, especially. Although the 3 weight there was something that was already covered by the 1-2 proto sequence, so we may see them ditch that.
Okay, what I've learned is that Hanroto, all terminal honors, in Mahjong Soul, well, in all Mahjong, but Hanroto is eligible in Mahjong Soul. A Yaku that I think may be a house Yaku or a local Yaku, which I've used before, which just says you need to have 1 in each of your melds, a terminal and honor in each of your melds, is not in Mahjong Soul. So I am a fool today. Anyway, South 1.
South 1. That's an interesting hand for Ivy. Because right now they have those 2 adjacent. They have those 2 that they have that pair of adjacent. But none of them is really set up to be anything immediately right now. Well, that turns
There's
into
the
a
double
triple,
Richi coming out. And happy Ipatsu to Thecollest.
Wow, they're really making a comeback here.
Really coming back from and catapulting Strings back into the lead.
Nice.
So good for all of our viewers, by which I mean me and you, who I think are rooting for the same things, generally speaking.
Listen, I just like a little chaos. It's fun. Sometimes chaos is good.
I'm not shy about having a rooting interest. It's just strictly because it's strictly arbitrary what that interest is.
Exactly. Oh, they get the second dragon tile here. I just realized I've been looking at Ivy and not keeping up with who's the dealer. 3.
Right. I should change.
Okay. Wow. Look at that. So they've got the pair of 6s, the pair of 7s, and the 8, which means that it's
good flexibility.
there's lots of flexibility there, and it could turn into two sequences.
Yes.
Which you always like to see. Or it could turn into a sequence and a pair, which is still good. It's still reasonable.
I like that pattern in a hand because it can be a pure double sequence. It can be two sequences. It can be a sequence and a pair. It can do a lot with just two pairs, and I love pairs.
You love pairs.
There's 4 pairs in this hand. 4 beautiful pairs.
They're 3 making a good choice there by ditching the 9. People who have less experience in the game might stick to that 9, going, "Oh, here's an 8-9. That's a thing," but of course it's not a thing because they already have a 6. So.
Yes.
Richi, huh?
There's
the
Richi coming out from the Thecollest. Yeah, that Tenpai happened last round, but they waited on the Richi for hopefully, again, a spiritually discerned Ipatsu. But Strings gets the Tsumo first.
And their gap is increasing.
Wow.
Oh.
That's a good one.
That's a big...
Richi, Menzen, Tsumo, Pinfu, Uradora. Very clean. I would like to point out that 3 starts this hand with a full triplet of the White Dragon. Beautiful day.
Very... You love to see it.
But once again, we come back around to the Thecollest to dig out of, this time, 3rd place.
It could happen,
Successfully
folks.
made it out of 4th, but would still like to make it onto the podium, like we saw last game.
You know, both 3 and the Thecollest are, at present, in contention. So it will come down to this to see whether one of them can whether one of them can remain in contention, or whether both of them will simply whether both of them will come up just a little bit short.
And we'll remember from the standings, which were briefly given before our break, that 3 currently in the overall ranking of UMA is just slightly below 0. But a big loss here, like the current amount of points they're at would give them, would really hurt their position in these standings. So, if anything, what 3 needs is just to get a few more points, even if they end up in last place in the end, just to make sure that they don't dip below about -20.
Where the Thecollest is at present, by the way. The Thecollest is at -20. So the Thecollest on the bubble for the postseason here.
I do like that the postseason is 3 weeks and the qualifiers are 2 weeks. If we're demarcating it like that.
Does this make this the preseason?
The preseason, the postseason.
There's
and
no
then the
season.
season takes place in the Maj organizing chat.
Exactly. Oh boy.
It is
What is
hurting my soul. The
Are they going for
pairs.
Are they going for 13 orphans?
Yes.
They're going for 13 orphans. Oh no, they're not.
Yeah, that's normal.
They're not. They're not going for 13 orphans. They just got rid of that red dragon tile. So what?
Oh well, yeah, I guess. I wanted to believe them. Yeah. But it's hurting my soul the competing pairs of Dora North Winds in 3's hand, Thecollest's hand. Once again, like Romeo and Juliet, they'll never meet. Yeah, it's much better for the Thecollest to discard those though, so I think 3 might get them.
3 might very well do. Those are Seat Wind, and those are Seat Wind, and they would have White Dragon and 3 Dora. So, you know, even if they open their hand here, it's a very big hand.
Yeah, that hand is Ishan 10? Yeah, it's Ishan 10. I should actually talk about what the words I use mean before I just say them. Ishan 10 is 1 away from Tenpai. Just realized that one was a little jargony. There's a Richi. I can appreciate Strings has been playing very closed, comparatively, this table. And I can appreciate the boldness of going for a Richi when you are so far in the lead, as opposed to something like a quick open hand.
You know, you respect the boldness. You respect
It does. And there's the Tsumo to prove it. It is a hand which will give you a lot more bang for your buck.
Oh
Even
yeah,
if it's
look
just
at that.
Fat Richie, Benzen Tsumo, Tanya. That's a Mangon, baby.
You know, I get it. I get it. Strings is pretty deep in the hole,
Yep.
and you know they're going to need to play aggressively as they're going to have to play all out just to stay in this one, and they're doing that, and it's
They're
working.
doing that completely. It is delighting me.
It's just fascinating viewing. Personally, you may not be interested in it, and that's your right as a viewer.
But your broadcasters are very.
But you're wrong, by the way.
Thecollest to get the 2 dragons here would be a nice get.
Yeah, that would be like the winds is a triple. You know, it's necessary. But you know, that's two Han right there. Although know that's enough to that wouldn't be enough to take them out of third place.
It would not.
And they're not the dealer.
They're not the dealer, so it would still end the round. But a win is a win. A win gives you Uma.
It does give you Uma. You know, it would put them. It would still end up in third, but it would not be as painful.
There is there's Tenpai. We are on Chitoitsu watch with Ivy once again.
But you know, nobody even knows that Thecollest is in Tenpai right now.
I know.
They can guess.
But Ivy's preternatural knows for these things.
This is a valuable tile for them. They can hold on to this. But
it's a red 5.
Yeah, I think what they're doing right now is just thinking about what to discard.
Yep.
3 also has a 5 of characters, 5 mon. You can remember this.
Part of the block, but 3 does have a many block hand right now, and that one could get ditched as easy as anything. And there's more 5s than that out in the world that we don't see yet.
There's all kinds of 5s in the world. If you keep looking,
it's really most likely to end up nicely if Thecollest draws the 5. Strings would want it. Ivy at this point is committed enough to it. 3 might want it, but Thecollest definitely wants it, and can call a Tsumo with it, which none of these other plebs can do.
I'm thinking maybe if Ivy gets a 2 mon, or did you just?
Sorry, that was the weight pattern changing. It's now a weight on the green dragon and the.
Okay, that's interesting. Oh, Thecollest might not be happy to see this. Oh,
no,
okay.
it's okay.
No, it's fine.
Like I said, Ivy wants that 5 mon, and so does Strings.
Oh yeah, we're in 7 pairs weight for.
Yeah, my beautiful Chitoitsu world.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so they're 5.
You were saying
they're
something, and I interrupted.
No. It's listen. I like I said, I didn't take my ADHD medication today, so I've forgotten what you were saying, what I was about to say already. And anyway, I've probably interrupted you a lot more than you've interrupted me. So.
It's interesting. Strings could have easily...
no, 3! Oh no!
It's just 2 Han, but it'll do. It'll push 3 deeper into the hole, which helps if you 2 are gunning for a high position.
But that'll be it, folks.
That
is the end of today's match.
An absolutely dominant win Strings, which is exactly what they needed.
Exactly what they needed to stay in this 45.1. and they were
that's some May
minus 65 in the hole. So that puts them above that minus 20 UMA mark that we were saying before. They are very much in this, folks. You love to see that.
Extremely so. Let me just update the standings as quick as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm. Taking destiny into their own hands. And it's hashtag string sweep. Exactly.
Hashtag string sweep. Ivy gets that 6.1. Not quite enough to push them past May, although if May has a bad week, you never know. The greatest thing about UMA is it's extremely swingy. It can go whatever direction it.
We've just seen this today, folks. Strings, who was very deep in the hole, had just an amazing game, and now ends up at 19.9. Hope's still alive in their heart.
3 has officially had the worst set of 2 Hanchons that anyone has had so far in this tournament. Which I am afraid to say does delight my soul.
Oh no!
Not because 3 is my beloved teammate. I love 3. I care deeply for 3. However, I do love statistics slightly more than I love 3.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you have your priorities in order.
Total, brutal as it is, really, really enjoy it. Final standings just before we sign off. Ivy has buffeted into a 3rd place total. These standings are based off of the standings from week 1, just adjusted to include the new scores. So these are extremely subject to change. But Ivy ends up in 3rd place with a total of 71.9 total positive UMA. Strings right below 16th at 17th place. No, I'm a fool. Strings is in 15th. Just above the line. 15th place Strings with negative 19.9. Again, pushing them right above what we think will be the line. And then Thecollest has ended up with negative 36.1 total, and 3, who was in 1st place at the start of this table, first out of the 4 people playing, has ended up now in last out of the 4 people playing with negative 37 UMA total.
It's
a beautiful game.
It's a beautiful game in the same way that baseball is a beautiful game, in so much as it will make you tear your hair out and go gray young. So if that sounds like a good time to you folks,
you should learn how to play Richu Mahjong. It causes great healing to the human spirit.
Learn how to play Richu Mahjong, and remember to tune in next time for the Slammin' tomorrow. When who knows? Maybe I'll be casting again. Are you tired of me?
It won't be me. I'll be playing.
Boy.
It's anyone's game.
All right.
Thanks for watching the official Slammin' sponsored Mahjong tournament, TakoYaku. I pronounced that wrong on purpose, I promise.
I've been MRM.
I've been Ash.
Have a wonderful night, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.